Hi, I'm Rick Rheins, Senior Rabbi at Temple Sinai in Denver, Colorado. This week's Torah portion is Yitro from chapters 18 through 20 in the book of Exodus. And in chapter 20, at the heart of this week's Torah portion, and indeed the most famous of passages, you'll find the Ten Commandments. In Hebrew, we refer to it as Aseret Hadavarim, the 10 utterances or the 10 sayings. Yes, those are the 10 laws, but as you know, there are many more than 10 laws in Judaism. In fact, there's 613 laws in Judaism that can be derived directly from the Torah or D'Oraita. The rabbis added even many, many more laws, which are D'Rabbanan, the laws that were created through rabbinic legislation over the many, many centuries. So getting back to the Ten Commandments, I'm going to go through them quickly. The first one, Anochi Hashem, I am Adonai. I am the Lord your God who brought you out of Egypt to be your God. Second is Lo Iye, there shall be no idols. Don't worship the thing. Don't worship false gods. Third, you shall not take God's name in vain. Don't swear falsely. Number four, you shall zechor et HaShabbat, remember the Sabbath, or shamor and zachor, remember and observe, because there's a different version of the Ten Commandments in Exodus as there is in Deuteronomy. Well, we'll get to that when we get to Deuteronomy in a few months. The fifth is you shall honor your father and mother. The sixth, do not murder. The seventh, do not commit adultery. Eighth, do not steal. Ninth, you shall not bear false witness. Do not lie. And then the 10th being, you shall not covet. Do not be covetous of anything in your neighbor's possession. So of those 10 commandments, we say, wait a minute, those are the headlines of many of the other commandments. That's true. So how do we understand that the Torah actually has 613 commandments and not 10? Well, in the act of gematria, gematria is the midrashic way, a homiletic way of understanding that each Hebrew letter has a corresponding number. And as we go through the alphabet, we will have numbers attached to them and some significance. For instance, Aleph is the first of the Hebrew letters, and so it corresponds to the number 1. Beit 2, Gimel 3, Dalet 4, Hey 5, etc. So if we go through gematria and look at the word Torah, the Tav corresponds to 400, the Vav to the number 6, the Resh to 200, and the Hey to 5. So 400 plus 6 plus 200 plus 5 is 611. Now, but wait a minute. Didn't I just say there were 613 commandments? Indeed. So the great commentators throughout history have said, what are the first two commandments that are over and above the 611 that are hinted to in the gematria for the word Torah? And those are the first two commandments here in the Ten Commandments. Anochi Hashem, I am Adonai, I am your God. And Lo Iye, you shall have no other gods before me. Don't have idols. Rashi and Rambam said, wait a minute, these were the two commandments that actually all of Israel heard. Because as we read through this week's Torah portion, we can see that the children of Israel, when they saw that the mountain was smoking and shaking with earthquakes and fire and all the rest, they said, Moses, you teach us the commandments. And indeed, the 611 commandments from the Torah were taught by Moses, some at Mount Sinai, many more through the 40 years of wandering in the desert. So what were the first two commandments that all of Israel heard? That Anochi Hashem, I am Adonai. And do not worship things that are material. Don't worship an idol. And so Rashi and Ramban, Nachmanides, said those two utterances were said in a way so quickly, simultaneously, that all of Israel heard them, but could not fully comprehend them. They had to be spelled out by Moses. But what exactly did they hear? how could we as normal humans have the ability to hear God, to have that kind of revelation that we can comprehend? And that too is beyond our imagination. How can we hear God, especially since God's not a thing, not a material being? God is the creator of all creation. God's not the creation, God's the creator of creation. So how can we be hearing God? Certainly not seeing or feeling or touching, nor even hearing. Moses had a perception of God. Moses was this great prophet. What about us? So Rashi and Nachmanides and others said, what we heard was just the utterance that there was God, that God is in our lives, that the things that are imperative to us, our responsibilities, our duties, our responsibilities, our mitzvot, are not ex nihilo, from nothingness, but rather they come from the creator of all being, that we are of God's creation, and that we can connect with God knowing that each human life has meaning and purpose, that we are of this world for a reason. And the Ten Commandments says it's this purpose of this life is to make a positive difference. And yes, some of it is the positive. Observe and celebrate a Shabbat, a day of rest, a day of creation, but also, and to honor your parents and to do those positive things, to understand that there is God in this world, but also to hold back our urges, our lusts, our desires to maybe dominate others or to take from others or to do things that are inappropriate. So in both ways, we have meaning and purpose in our lives, both to celebrate our relationship to God and to each other, and to respect the being of everyone else and all of the other creation, to be kind and compassionate and generous and respectful of another person, to know that that person that's with us is also of God. So this revelation that Moses brought down and taught to all of us, some at Mount Sinai, which was the Ten Commandments, and some throughout the wanderings of 40 years in the desert, and over the many, many years of our culture of Judaism has grown and evolved to this very moment. We still explore what it means to be in relationship with God. And the start of it is Anochi Hashem. I am God, it says. There is God. There is meaning and purpose to life. And there's meaning and purpose to your life. And there's something that this world needs of you. You're here for a reason. And that is to celebrate this gift of life and to respectfully celebrate the lives of others, people of different faith, who may not look like you, who may not believe like you, who may disagree with you politically. They too are of this sacred creation. We are of God. That's all that the children of Israel needed to hear. That's all really we need to focus on as well, that life has meaning and purpose. The Ten Commandments, plus the 613 that we find in the Torah, plus that which makes this world sweeter and better and kinder. Shabbat Shalom.